Let's begin this session with Arten de Guzman with the topic Modeling Wanted Behavior Teaching Kindness in an Online Classroom.
Hello, poachers! Wow, sorry for the sudden rush of energy, but can I please get a heart emoji or reaction button there if you're here? I see familiar faces. Hello, Katipunan people. Hello, everyone. At salamat po nandito kayo ngayon. Okay, let me start sharing now para we can make the most out of our session. All right. So good afternoon, everyone. Again, I am Arthine de Guzman and I am representing Xavier School San Juan. Hopefully po may matutunan kayo kasi I'm very, very excited to show these practices to you today. All right. So a little intro. I am a grade 1 teacher. Hence the energy. Hindi po ito joke lang. I think I get it from my theater org back in college. I am a true Katipunera. Wow, hello po Ateneo dyan. Pero Miriam po ako. I'm currently studying clinical psychology in PUP, almost 5 years in teaching. Actually, ODL captured my heart. Some teachers say that they would want to be in the physical classroom more, but I feel like I really saw my heart here in ODL. Okay, and my goal is to really try my best to reach other teachers and help them in their journey. So yeah, I really hope that you get to learn something today. All right, let's start. Let me just see this one. Okay, so teachers, picture this. You're in your classroom, whichever it may be. It may be online or back in the physical classrooms. And you're pressed for time, no? And some kids started to have an argument or a misunderstanding. Ang galing nga naman ng timing, okay? And you have two choices or maybe a lot of choices for others. You either can do a stern eye, like you really look at them like, hey, tama na yan. Wag ngayon, no? Wag ngayon. Or you can tell them to like say, stop it, you know, or something like that. Or because we are staying in a very in a Catholic institute or in a Jesuit institute, we try to incorporate values like this. Hey, can you please practice kindness? Can I see a thumbs up if you've used this line more than once in your teaching life? Please practice kindness. Okay. Thank you very much, Chers. Okay, so sometimes, no, especially for younger kids, we forget that kindness is such a big word. Actually, even for me right now, talagang nasubok po, no, ang kindness ko for the past year, from 2020 up till now. And the situation I actually presented before this has opened my eyes to a lot of realizations, especially inside an online classroom. Kasi if back in the physical classroom nga, we kind of had a hard time already of practicing kindness. What more when you're in an online classroom? Assessment ka, ang hirap na ituro eh. Something as abstract pa as kindness. How do you do that? So, instead of telling them to just practice kindness, no, why not model and or let them experience kindness firsthand? So, that means po, from us, from the teachers. Okay? So these are just some of the ways that I identified as to how we can model and practice kindness in an online classroom as teachers. So of course, we have teaching. Next, we have connecting. And the last one would be the talking part of each lesson, okay? So we're gonna start with teaching, okay? Basically in teaching, we focus on the lessons. So I think you've heard this before. I think most of your, majority of you guys have been in in-service training, doing in-service training for the past month. Here in Xavier, we're actually at, we already had our PTC actually. But I think you always hear this, no? That we should try and integrate stories that promote kindness and are rich in values. Nako, super favorite ito, using stories as a springboard. But what can we do to maybe update that or boost that pa so that the kids will really say that, oh, I have to practice kindness here. So don't stop with stories. This is one thing that I'm really, really happy about in Xavier. And I think naman all of us use it here. But if not, I hope this helps you guys. Don't stop with stories, no? Try to relate and get to know your students more. Sometimes we have disagreements or misalignments in class because we don't know what the students feel or that they actually think this certain way. So this is actually called tug of war. We use this especially when we are faced with two opinions or two facts and we want to know their thoughts about it. It really helped me and opened my eyes to get to know my students more because you really see what's important to them, what they value, what they think, possibly what their parents are teaching them. So with that, try and incorporate visible thinking strategies because from there, we can already see that, what do you call this? We can actually, make it student led. There, that's the word. Make it student led and not really the other way around where the teacher just tells you ways on how to practice kindness based on the story. So again, we're trying to make it student led. Okay? And in grade 1 in Savior, we try our best to make each week thematic. But cheers, don't worry. I don't want to put more work on you, okay? It's more of trying to incorporate and integrate. Who knows, right? Partnership always goes a long way. So if you notice, here we have a central theme. Basically, sometimes it's also a value. If we focus on kindness, especially, we try to share that with the other subjects na parang, even if it's a little informal. Hey, we're working on kindness right now as a unit. Maybe you can also incorporate that in Kwentong Pambata in Filipino. So that there is a certain attachment or parang we can help the students really internalize what values, especially that nga of kindness, that we want them to learn. So whatever I'm presenting here today, especially these ones, are of the fruit of all the overtimes that we did in grade 1. So talagang we made it a point to try to make it thematic, especially when teaching values like kindness and respect. Okay? And sometimes, cheers, ako po, I'm guilty of this. I won't impose anything, no? Sometimes you have the tendency to type a lot of words on the screen like this. Tanan! No, how do we even know if our students can relate to it or not? What do you call this? With things like this, sometimes the kids get overwhelmed and they're just gonna read it, but do they really internalize what we want them to learn? Okay, so instead of showing this, maybe try using this. Again, I'm gearing or leaning on visible thinking strategy. So this is called See, Think, and Wonder. And from these photos, in my class or in grade 1, we were able to derive that yes, we do look different from each other, but that doesn't mean that we should treat each other differently. So, what do you call this? Even if the word kindness isn't there, we are really teaching them that, hey, this is what it looks like, which is more important, right? And sometimes, I am guilty of this. We underestimate what the child can realize or understand. Minsan, especially when we're pressed for time, I just flash this one, basically. But when I do have the time and I really, really try as much as possible to make time, the answers that the students answer here are very, very good. Sometimes they say, teacher, why do they look different from me? What do I do? And then from there, we talk about, even if they look different from you, what can we do about it? Do we treat them differently than others because they look different from us? And etc. Okay. So next, now that we're done with the lessons, we will also go to connecting. How to connect or how we relate to the students, no? Okay, so what do you call this? I will show you this photo. We were actually talking about pee breaks. There was this one time when a student asked me, what happens when I'm the one who needs to pee? Because I always tell them they don't have to hold their pee. If they really, really need to pee, please go ahead. I don't want them to hold it in. So with that, actually, they told me that what do you call this? I don't need to hold my pee whenever I need to pee. Kasi nga, it's bad for the, may nagsabi pa ng UTI or something like that. And it tells me that, oh my goodness, everyone cares for each other here in my class, no? Kids remember every promise, church. They are very, very observant. When this happened, every single day up until now, they ask me if I need to pee. Like, grabe. They treat everything as an emergency. If they feel that you're lagging, they will really unmute and say, teacher, teacher, um, you're lagging. You sound like a robot, no? Teacher, the annotate button is on. Teacher, remember when you said it was going to be sunny? Teacher, why isn't it sunny? They remember everything because how we treat our kids every day is a big thing. Like whatever we do today, whatever you tell them today, whatever you try to tell them every day, it makes a big difference. Okay? Another one is remember that kids have bad days too. I remember when it was my first year in teaching, dapat daw on your first day, you are very firm. Like you are, the term is masungit. Talagang you have to keep a straight face on so that they know who's in authority. But right now, during online distance learning, you really have to keep a balance of both. Why? Because these kids need someone they can trust. And it's hard to trust someone who you only met like on screen, like right now in Zoom. It's hard to trust me actually with what I'm saying. So you really have to keep a balance of both. Usually at the start of each session, I always ask the kids as to where they are in the zone of feeling. So we usually have, we had a topic on zones of feelings. And sometimes I also tell them, or I'm honest enough to tell them that I'm in the blue zone, meaning maybe I'm sad, maybe I feel a bit frustrated right now, or bored even. And they actually appreciate that honesty. Even if I am in the blue zone, in which I was honest enough to tell them, that does not mean that I will not teach them. And from there, they also should do the same. Even if they are in the blue zone, they should also try their best to somehow participate in class. So remember that in everything that they do, there is a certain reason behind it. And what we can only see, chairs in front of their screen is half of their body. We don't know what happens at the back of their camera. We don't know what happens on their side. I'm not saying to let everything pass, ha? Like all the certain misbehaviors to let it pass. But what I'm saying is that to always take a deep breath first before saying anything or doing anything, especially when a misbehavior happens. Hindi lang po ito dahil nandun yung parents nila or guardians nila, but it's also because we have to remember that maybe the kids are also going through something at home that we do not know about. Okay, so let me elaborate on that. Being kind doesn't always mean to be very considerate. Lahat na lang pinagbigyan. Walang materials, pinagbigyan. Let's be kind. No. It's actually quite the opposite. Misbehaving in class, when we disregard that misbehavior, we aren't showing kindness to them. Okay? All right. Next one. We also have to try to acknowledge what they do. So I'm just gonna play a few moments.
Okay, good. If you answered 70 and 8 together, great job.
Okay, you don't have to be as jolly and as bubbly as me. But like us as teachers, we appreciate it when parents or admins give us good feedback. So the kids love that too. Okay. In terms of good feedback, actually, what I learned from my students is they actually just want to be acknowledged or validated, like us, actually like me. So instead of saying that's the wrong answer, you can try saying this. Thank you for trying. Can we maybe help that person, or can we try to think of another answer? Maybe instead of saying, I don't like that, stop it. We can say, I'm not sure I appreciate what you're doing. Do you remember our rules? Because as young as they are, they actually know already what's right or wrong, especially if you had a whole orientation week about it, chairs, during the first few weeks in class. They already know, okay? And instead of saying this one, this is actually one of the greatest learnings I had in ODL. I don't say that it's easy anymore. It's really more of, even if it's hard or easy, I know you can still do it. and assure them that you'll be there to help. Kasi po minsan, we say that it's easy, but then there are some students who find it really hard. So it's best to be kind and to be honest to them, and just to assure them that you're going to be there for them. Okay? And the last one for modeling kindness would be the talking part. Here we focus on the processing. Okay. Sometimes, I'm not sure if you feel me, no? Sometimes there are students who unmute. You're doing math and then suddenly they talk about Roblox. I'm not sure where they got Roblox. Okay. Sometimes there are students who kakatapos nyo lang po mag-explain ng instructions and then boom, they don't know what to do anymore. Or there are also students who go back to number 1, but you're already in number 15. Oh my goodness, those kinds of students. We love them very much. Okay, so this is why sometimes when these things happen, especially the unmuting part, we have the tendency to preach. Okay, because we are so caught up in our feelings and emotions. All right. So actually, what happened a while ago, the first slide that I presented, it was actually from a true story. So a student cried in a breakout room activity along with other students, and I wasn't there. Oh my goodness, I wasn't there to see what actually happened. So my first thinking was, oh my goodness, what do I do? Okay, so I'm just gonna share a breakdown of what I did during that time that really helped, especially how I treat and help the kids resolve their problems or solve their problems. Okay, so the first one is give them time to reflect. Talking separately to both parties, whoever are the people involved, let them calm down, especially hearing both sides of the story, like especially if there are a lot of people involved there. The next one is to reassure them that we are working against the problem and not against each other. It's a big change of perspective there. Another one is to acknowledge their feelings. And what I actually stressed during that time was to not, I really emphasized that they shouldn't blame anyone in the group. We'll talk more later. And whenever they would say something more, I would just say, try to calm down first, and we will all talk together later. Okay. Of course, logistically speaking, I had to email the parents to let them know that we will be talking about it together because students were crying already. Okay. Now, you might wonder, Arthine, no? Paano ko magagawa yan? Wala akong oras to process it. I don't have time anymore to process these things, okay? But one thing I learned from kids is that they also need to think about what happened. They have to feel their feelings and calm down. It was actually a learning experience for everyone involved in that situation or that incident. The kids know what to do if they're feeling strong emotion. So after this, whenever someone is upset, they already know the protocol in class. Maybe it's to turn off their videos or let the teacher know, go back to the main session. And we are actually way ahead of our dealing with feelings module. So yes, it greatly made a benefit to our class in general. But if the situation is really pressed for time, try to leave a mental note and or endorse it to your guidance counselor right away. Okay. So I'm nearing the end of my presentation, Chers. Whatever you do as a teacher, I hope you know that you are doing a great job. All of you being here today is one step towards the goal of having a kinder and safer community. And most of all, please practice kindness to yourself. It helped me practice what I preach in class when I started to be kinder to myself as well. Can I get a heart po if you agree with what I'm saying? You have to be kinder to yourself, especially as teachers. When you make a mistake, teachers, tell yourself, you can do it. Tomorrow again is a new day. Okay? Bottom line is, sa lahat po ng sinabi ko, teachers, kindness starts when you treat people the way you want to be treated. So whatever you want, maybe you have cousins, younger cousins, or maybe sons or daughters, please treat them the way, treat your students rather, the way you want your younger loved ones to be treated. Okay? So maraming salamat po, Chers. Luchi at Lux po sa ating lahat. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Ms. De Guzman. Okay, so now the floor is open for questions. Participants may send their questions through chat. Miss, I have a question. I can
Yes,
start.
go ahead.
Okay, so as of now, since it's online, I know that parents, especially with the younger children, they can be very involved also with the learning, like they'll be in the background. So how do we deal with that with the child's learning and keeping them engaged as well?
Well, I'm gonna answer this in a perspective where you have to talk to a certain student who misbehaved in class. Am I right, Julia? Sorry, I'm just gonna focus on that, ha? Yeah, because if it's the assessment, nako, ibang usapan na yan, di ba, Chers? I just remember, I know that parents can be unpredictable in times, at times rather, and sometimes they can also maybe have a negative connotation on how you talk to the boys. But I really remember who I am as a teacher and what I want to teach my students, because from there, I know what to tell them, and I really treat them the way I would in a physical classroom. Because if I really hold back with what I need to say to my kids, especially when reminding them about something, baka hindi makatawid eh. It would look as something na I'm just doing this to please the parents. But nevertheless, whatever I have to say as a reminder to my kids, I really try my best to say it even if they are there, and maybe do a follow-up email to explain why I did it to the parents, para naman maybe some inquiries that they have or questions, I can answer them. So there, Julia. I hope I answered that.
Yes, thank you. Are there any more questions? Feel free to send a PM to Ms. De Guzman, or you can chat it to everyone, or you can also unmute yourselves and ask questions.
Hello. Hi. Hi,
Hello.
Ma'am Arthine.
Hello.
First of all, thank you for that very energetic and enthusiastic presentation or talk. I could
Mhm.
just imagine. Your students are very lucky to have you as a teacher.
Thank you, ma'am.
I've been wanting to ask, what is ODL? Sorry, I mean, sounds so many.
Sorry. It's Xavier. We have
ODL.
a lot of acronyms. ODL stands for online distance learning. So
Okay.
yeah, we don't usually refer to it as online classes, but yeah, it's online distance
Online
learning.
distance learning.
Yes, thank you for that
So,
question. Yes,
your,
po.
your your approach to your class reminds me of, I don't know if you have heard of the Virtues program.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, it's actually like of course promoting kindness, but instead of criticizing or giving negative feedback to the student, you try to call out the virtue in every situation. So yeah, like you gave an example a while ago, instead of saying stop it, or there's
Mm-hmm.
an equivalent more kind way. So just remember about this program, because I attended this training. Like, instead of saying why are you so lazy, so you have to really stop yourself from using the word lazy, and really look for an equivalent positive or equivalent virtue. Like, I think if I can remember it correctly, you can use words like, how can I help you to be more purposeful,
Yes.
or to be more considerate, instead of really pointing out the obvious negative. So, and yeah, it takes an effort really to to undo that bad habit. And
Mm.
it's all about, well, I guess you already have the personality, so that's half
Yeah.
the work done. But for other teachers, we really want to consider being more kind. It takes a lot of practice, right?
Yes po. Actually, Ma'am Hershey, do I call you Miss Hershey po? Tama po ba?
Especially, yeah.
All right. Miss Hershey, actually, when back in the physical classroom, guilty as I am, I wasn't like this. Like, I used to really preach to my kids. I would not really waste, sige. I would really spend like a lot of minutes just to tell them what to do, but I don't really hear their side. If you understand what I mean, teachers. But yeah, it takes a lot of practice and you get used to it actually. But
Yeah.
just to clarify, I still get sometimes very firm with them. Grabe, there are times pa rin. Kasi if we just, show them, this friendly face, and you show them that you're also kind and good, minsan po they take that for granted. So, yeah, it's really a balance.
That's true.
Mm-mm.
But keep up the good work, Ma'am Artie.
Thank you, Ma'am Hershey. Hope to meet you soon. Thank you. Thank you. All right. Thank you.
Are there any more questions? I think we have time for at least one more question.
All right. I have one question here. She's asking if, and hello, this is my friend. She's asking if I do a reward system for their kind of behavior. I didn't what do you call this? I didn't get to mention that, but yes. So in class, we usually use something called class dojo chairs. If you are familiar with that, just give me a thumbs up there. Oh, oh sorry. Oh, sorry po. Okay. Anyway, we use class dojo, and we usually also have a goal in class. So it's different from when I reward points in class dojo. It's not more of the academic side, as in I actually don't like rewarding them when it's the academic side. I usually reward them for working hard. I reward them for being a good leader. I reward them when they use kind words. So whenever they use or get to a certain goal or a point, for example, 20 points by the end of the week, that gives them a reward. We do science experiments. Sadly, we don't have science kasi in grade 1 in Xavier. So we do science experiments and other things that interest them. Sometimes they also choose a movie to watch. So we watched Luca last week. Napakahaba. Yun, putol-putol naman po yun. Pero yeah, it really works when they have something to look forward to. Let them choose also what they want so that it's really from them. They're really motivated to get it. Thank you for that question.
Okay, thank you, Miss. I think that's all the time we have for questions. Do you have any last messages for the participants? Anything you'd like to share?
All right. Right now, wala naman, cheers. Magparehistro po tayong lahat at bumoto sa 2022. And be safe po, all of you. Please be kind to yourselves as well. You are doing great as teachers. Thank you very much also to Julia. Thank you, cheers.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone. So if you have any further questions, you may message us in this link down below at gbseald.online/share if you have any further questions for Miss Artinade de Guzman. And then we'll be having our next session, creating rapport in online classes with Mr. Eden Reyes. Thank you, everyone. Feel free to still stay in the room if you would like to attend the next session.